set.
This is Michael Falkner, and it's showtime, the November 15th, 2011 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you by the Chronic Rift. As always, let's kick things off with last weekend's box office results, starting with number 10 and Real Steel, down 3 places from last week's 7th. At number 9 is Footloose, down 3 from 6th. In 8th place is Paranormal Activity 3, dropping 4 from 4th. In 7th we find In Time, moving down 2 from 5th. And at 6th place is A Very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas, slipping 3 places from last week's 3rd. In 5th place is new release J. Edgar, premiering with $11 million. In 4th place is Tower Heist, down 2 from last week's 2nd, with another $13 million and a total of $43 million. In 3rd place is last week's winner, Puss in Boots, breaking in another $24 million for a total of $108 million. In 2nd is new release Jack and Jill, starting us around $25 million, which is kind of low for an Adam Sandler premiere. But this week's winner is Olympian with Immortals, conquering the box office with a $32 million debut. That's less than half of the $70.9 million opener for the comparable 300, but it is Relativity Media's best opening ever, and it's also the best opening for a movie not released by one of the Big Six studios. Additionally, it has the second highest opening ever for an R-rated movie. What does November 18th offer to defeat Olympian gods? We have Moody Bloodsuckers and Dancing Penguins, starting with The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 1, a fantasy drama starring Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner. The Quillette and Vauchery close in on expecting parents Edward and Bella, whose unborn child poses different threats to the Wolf Pack and the Vampire Coven. The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 is rated PG-13. Competing with the sparkly vampires, we have Happy Feet 2, an animated comedy starring Elijah Wood, Robin Williams, and Pink. Mumble's son, Eric, is struggling to realize his talents in the Emperor Penguin world. Meanwhile, Mumble and his family and friends discover a new threat to their home, one that will take everyone working together to save them. Happy Feet 2 is rated PG. Moving into limited releases, we have The Descendants, a comedic drama starring George Clooney, Judy Greer, and Matthew Lillard. A land baron tries to reconnect with his 2 daughters after his wife suffers a boating accident. The Descendants opens in Los Angeles and New York City on November 16th and expands to the wider market on November 18th and is rated R. Next up is Tyrannosaur, a drama starring Peter Mullen, Olivia Colman, and Eddie Marsan. Joseph, a man plagued by violence and a rage that is driving him to self-destruction, earns a chance of redemption that appears in the form of Hannah, a Christian charity shop worker. Tyrannosaur opens in Los Angeles and New York City and is not rated. And our new release slate winds out with Another Happy Day, a drama starring Ellen Barkin, Ezra Miller, and Kate Bosworth. A wedding at her parents' Annapolis estate hurls high-strung Lynn into the center of touchy family dynamics. Another Happy Day premieres in Los Angeles and New York City and is rated R. Moving right along to the November 15th home entertainment slate, we kick off with Larry Crowne, a romantic comedy starring Tom Hanks, Julia Roberts, and Sarah Mahoney. After losing his job, a middle-aged man reinvents himself by going back to college. Larry Crowne is rated PG-13. Next up, we have Beginners, a comedic drama starring Ewan McGregor, Christopher Plummer, and Melanie Laurent. A young man is rocked by 2 announcements from his elderly father, that he has terminal cancer and that he has a young male lover. Beginners is rated R. Next on the list is Bellflower, an action drama starring Evan Glodell, Tyler Dawson, and Jesse Weisman. 2 friends spend all their free time building flamethrowers and weapons of mass destruction in hopes that a global apocalypse will occur and clear the runway for their imaginary gang, Mother Medusa. Bellflower is rated R. Next, we have a video game tie-in with Assassin's Creed Lineage, an action-adventure film starring Romano Osari, Claudia Ferri, and Devery Jacobs. A prequel to the video game Assassin's Creed 2, this short movie centers around the father of the game's main character. Giovanni is an assassin living during the Renaissance in 15th century Italy. At this dawn of a new era, a conspiracy is being plotted by one corrupt family to overthrow the powerful Medici family and destroy a unified Italy. As an assassin, Giovanni must face this threat and bring justice. Assassin's Creed Lineage is not rated. And last on the new release slate, we have DreamWorks Dragons, Gift of the Night Fury, and Book of Dragons Double Pack. Capitalizing on the hit How to Train Your Dragon, DreamWorks Animation is releasing a 2-pack before the holidays. In DreamWorks Dragons, Gift of Night Fury, the dragons are back in the exciting next chapter of How to Train Your Dragon. The epic story of Hiccup and Toothless continues as they take flight in a thrilling all-new adventure to discover an island of never-before-seen dragons. That story is followed by DreamWorks Dragons' Book of Dragons. So you want to become a dragon trainer, do you? Prepare yourself for adventure, excitement, and training as Hiccup, Astrid, Toothless, and Gobber tell the legend behind the Book of Dragons and reveal insider training secrets about new, never-before-seen dragons. DreamWorks Dragons, Gift of the Night Fury, and Book of Dragons are not rated. Moving into TV on DVD, we kick off with Farscape, the complete series, now on Blu-ray, starring Ben Browder, Claudia Black, and Anthony Simcoe. John Crichton, astronaut, flung through a wormhole and lost in a galaxy far from home. He finds himself in the middle of a prison break, surrounded by hostile aliens, soaring through space inside a glorious living ship called Moya. Hunted by the relentless peacekeepers, he allies himself with his unimaginably alien fellow refugees and searches for a way home. So begins the epic sci-fi classic Farscape, available on Blu-ray for the first time. A fusion of live-action, state-of-the-art puppetry, prosthetics, and CGI, Farscape features mind-boggling alien life forms, dazzling special effects, edgy-your-seat thrills, irreverent humor, and unforgettable characters, all brought to life by the creative minds at Jim Henson's Creature Shop. No wonder it's been called the most imaginative sci-fi series in television history. This mega set contains all 88 episodes over 20 discs, and in case you want to buy them separately, you can. Each season is also available on Blu-ray. Next up, we have It Takes a Thief, the complete series, starring Robert Wagner, Bette Davis, and Fred Astaire. International locales, beautiful women, guest stars galore. It Takes a Thief, the complete series, is now available for the first time ever on DVD, featuring all 66 episodes over 3 seasons of the hit show that Cinema Retro called the coolest espionage series of the late 60s. Smooth, suave, and sophisticated, Alexander Mundy is the world's greatest cat burglar. Now he's plying his trade as the SIA's most debonair spy, traipsing the globe, seducing beautiful women, and embezzling fortunes, all on behalf of Uncle Sam and the U.S. government.
Let me get this straight. You want me to steal?
Next, we have Crime Story, the complete series, starring Dennis Farina, David Caruso, Stephen Lang, and Bill Campbell. Set in 1963, Crime Story is the story of Chicago Police Major Crime Unit, headed by tough-as-nails Lieutenant Mike Torello, and his obsessive pursuit of slick and ruthless gangster Ray Luca, one of the organized crime's brightest young hoods. As Luca murders, steals, and extorts his way to the top from the mean streets of Chicago to the glitter of Las Vegas, Torello remains hot on his tail. From Michael Mann comes Crime Story, one of the most influential action dramas in television history. This special collection includes the 2-hour pilot and both seasons from the cult classic television series. Next, we have Aspen, the complete miniseries, starring Sam Elliott and Perry King. This miniseries details the trial of Lee Bishop, an Aspen man who was arrested, tried, and sentenced to die for the rape and murder of a 15-year-old girl, a crime for which Bishop is not guilty. As the years pass and Bishop sits on death row, his attorney, Tom Keating, does everything in his power to clear Bishop's name and find the true killer. Next, we have Season 1 of Being Human, the U.S. remake, starring Sam Witwer, Sam Huntington, and Megan Rath. Being Human. Nobody ever said it was easy, but for these 3 20-something roommates, Vampire Aiden, Ghost Sally, and Werewolf Josh, is it even possible? While these outsiders come to realize that there are fates even worse than death, they also discover that there's more to life and the afterlife than most normal humans could ever imagine. Next, we hop across the pond to Bedlam Season 1, starring Theo James, Will Young, Charlotte Salt, and Ashley Madekwe. Welcome to Bedlam Heights, a hip, newly converted apartment building in the heart of Leeds. But behind the facade lie unimaginable horrors, for this former pre-Victorian asylum is haunted by the ghosts of his dark and violent past. Kate, who lives and works at Bedlam Heights, thinks that anyone who believes in the ghosts is a fool. Overly self-confident but ultimately self-destructive, she is surprised by the unexpected arrival of Jed, her adopted cousin. Jed is unique. With a history of mental illness, he's a troubled man who sees visions of the dead, the past, and ghosts. He's convinced Kate is in danger from the spooks of Bedlam, but unbeknownst to him, Kate and friends Molly and Ryan, the truth will be much more terrifying. Also from the BBC, we have Neverwhere, starring Hywell Bennett, Gary Bakewell, and Patterson Joseph. Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere is an exploration of London below, a vast subterranean capital far below London above, where office drone Richard Mayhew unwittingly finds himself after rescuing Dor, an underworld dweller determined to learn why her parents have been killed. Also coming this week from the BBC is Whitechapel: The Ripper Returns, starring Philip Davis, Rupert Penry-Jones, and Steve Pemberton. Detective Inspector Joseph Chandler arrives in London's working-class Whitechapel, site of Jack the Ripper's 19th century rampage, to head up a murder inquiry. Detective Ray Miles, a hard-bitten veteran, is none too happy to report to such a posh fellow, but Chandler gives the case his all. After the first brutal killing, Edward Buchan, a local ripperologist, suggests that the culprit may be a copycat. Chandler's colleagues scoff at the suggestion until the second murder, at which point they get on board, reading up on the Ripper, questioning suspects, and doing their utmost to prevent 3 more potential deaths. Next up, we have the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection, Volume 1, coming to Blu-ray. 50 of some of the greatest Looney Tunes cartoons are together for the first time on Blu-ray. Releasing in a digibook with the rare images and a cartoon guide by historian Jerry Beck, this collection has been digitally restored and remastered. This 3-disc collection contains some of the franchise's most endearing shorts featuring all of your favorite Looney Tunes characters. Disc 1 features 25 classics from the Immortals, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Roadrunner, and Wile E. Coyote, amongst others. Disc 2 contains 25 shorts featuring one-shot classics and the complete collection from Marvin the Martian, Tasmanian Devil, Witch Hazel, Mark Anthony, and Ralph Phillips. And Disc 3 contains over 5 hours of content saluting animator Chuck Jones, insightful documentaries, and rare shorts from Jones and others. And last on our TV slate, we have the California Raisins Collection. Will Vinton's irresistibly zany TV specials mix eye-popping claymation with off-the-wall comedy and feature some of the best R&B tunes ever. It's great family fun all ages can enjoy. The 2-disc set includes the Raisins TV specials, Meet the Raisins, Raisins Sold Out, and 4 classic California Raisins commercials, The Late Show, Lunchbox, Raisin Ray, and Michael Raisin, plus the California Raisin Show, all 13 cel-animated cartoon episodes from 1989 Saturday morning CBS TV series. Taking a look at web series coming to DVD, we have Red vs. Blue, Season 9, starring Matt Hullum, Gustavo Sorolla, Jeff Ramsey, and Joel Heyman. Before the events of Blood Gulch, there was Project Freelancer, an experimental military program which sought to create a new breed of warrior. This new soldier was to be faster, stronger, and smarter than any we've seen before, which, based on previous seasons of Red vs. Blue, doesn't really take that much. Based on the popular video game Halo and adding an exciting new cast of characters to the classic ensemble, this innovative narrative, part amazing action prequel and part hilarious comedy sequel, unveils the mystery behind Project Freelancer and its dire consequences for the Reds and the Blues. Taking a look at classics coming to Blu-ray, we kick off with Evil Dead 2 from 1987, a horror comedy starring Bruce Campbell, Sarah Berry, and Dan Hicks. The lone survivor of an onslaught of flesh-possessing spirits holds up in a cabin with a group of strangers while the demons continue their attack. Evil Dead 2 is unrated. Next we have West Side Story, the 50th anniversary edition from 1961, a crime musical starring Natalie Wood, George Chakiris, and Richard Beymer. West Side Story is a Romeo and Juliet update about 2 youngsters from rival New York City gangs who fall in love. West Side Story is not rated. Next up, we have The Rules of the Game, the Criterion Collection from 1939, a comedic drama starring Marcel Delio, Nora Gregor, and Paulette Dubost. The Rules of the Game is director Jean Renoir's look at bourgeois life in France at the onset of World War II. In a sordid cast of characters, the rich and their poor servants meet up at a French chateau. The Rules of the Game is not rated. Next, we have The Three Colors, Blue, White, and Red, coming to Criterion Collection from 1994, a trilogy of dramas about contemporary French society starring Juliette Binoche and Julie Delpy. Blue focuses around the wife of a composer and how she deals with the death of her husband and child. White centers on a man dealing with a Polish immigrant whose wife wants to divorce him because he can't perform in bed. And Red concerns a model who discovers her neighbor is keen on invading people's privacy. Three Colors, Blue, White, and Red, is rated R. And last we have a re-release of Metropolis. This time it's Giorgio Moroder presents Metropolis Special Edition, starring Gustav Froelich, Bridget Helm, Alfred Abel, and Pat Benatar. Freder Fredersen is the son of Joe Fredersen, who reigns over the city of Metropolis. Freder is surprised to discover his lifestyle has been built on the unseen but back-breaking labor of an entire class of unseen workers who tend the machine that makes the city run. And he descends to the subterranean levels of Metropolis in an effort to understand their lives, and not, incidentally, to find the mysterious but beautiful woman Maria, who has inspired his interest in the workers' plight. In 1981, three-time Academy Award-winning composer Giorgio Moroder began a 3-year endeavor to restore the 1927 science fiction classic Metropolis. During this restoration, Moroder made the controversial decision to give the film a new contemporary score and added a pop music soundtrack featuring songs from some of the biggest pop and rock stars of the early MTV era, including Pat Benatar, Billy Squier, Freddie Mercury, Bonnie Tyler, Adam Ant, John Anderson, and more. In addition to the new score, missing footage was re-edited into the film, intertitles were removed and replaced with subtitles, and sound effects and color were added, creating an all-new experience in an all-new film. For more than a quarter century, this version of the film has remained out of print until now. A new HD transfer was created from one of the few remaining prints available, and Kino Lorber is presenting the film in the best possible quality as it was seen in its original release in August of 1984. Giorgio Moroder Presents Metropolis Special Edition is unrated. And now I have 2 items for you in the Quick Flicks. If you're a collector of rare memorabilia, this story is for you. Atlas Shrugged just hit shelves, and now it's facing a reprint because of something that was printed in the marketing copy on the package. One sentence. That's all it takes. One sentence in the copy. Ayn Rand's timeless novel of courage and self-sacrifice comes to life, and you've got a reprint. For those unfamiliar with Ayn Rand's objectivist ideology, the important wording there is self-sacrifice, which is exactly the opposite of what Ayn Rand would endorse. From Harmon Koslow, the producer of the film, quote, "As we all well know, the ideas brought to life in Atlas Shrugged are entirely antithetical to the idea of self-sacrifice as a virtue. Atlas is quite literally a story about the dangers of self-sacrifice. The error was an unfortunate one, and fans of Ayn Rand and Atlas have every right to be upset, and we have every intention of making it right." End quote. Atlas Productions' chief operating officer and communications director Scott DeSapio followed up with, quote, "It's embarrassing for sure, and of course, regardless of how or why it happened, we're all feeling irresponsible right now. You can imagine how mortified we all were when we saw the DVD, but it was simply too late. The product was already on shelves all over the country. It was certainly no surprise when the incredulous emails ensued. The irony is inescapable." End quote. The reissued copy states, Ayn Rand's timeless novel of rational self-interest comes to life. Film buffs know that the Criterion Collection is kind of the elite form of a movie, and that form is on DVD, Blu-ray, and on Hulu. And now, starting this month, select titles are available on iTunes. Right now, only 46 titles of the library of hundreds are up there, but the missing part are the extras that make those Criterion releases so special. It's a small step in the transition from concrete media to digital media, but one in the right direction, and hopefully one that sticks. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to chronicgriff.com and leave a note in the forums. You can leave a voicemail at 888-866-9010, or you can write to John at chronicgriff.com. You can follow us on Tumblr, tweet us on Twitter, check into the network on GetGlue, or leave us a review on iTunes. You can also find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Grift on Facebook. And hey, if you're more of a Google Plus kind of person, both pages are over there as well. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make through the store supports the Chronic Rift. Look for the link in our show notes. The Weekly Podioplex is a collaboration of Creative Criticality and Lucky Shot Productions. This is Michael Falkner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the theater.